I think I've been in ESG is my first acronym. I've been in environment, social, and governance issues for the last 17 years. And frankly speaking, the world has changed in 2015, which means after 14 years of being a pioneer, suddenly I became mainstream because of the speech by Mark Carney in September 15, the tragedy of the Horizon speech. Then he appointed Michael Bloomberg. Can you believe that? Maybe the next president of the United States, or we'll see. So somebody very high level. So the subject matter of my past 14 years suddenly became the subject matter of very important people like that. So, and very rich, by the way. So the second thing is, in 2015, the world of investors, the world of finance, suddenly not only became aware, but decided to really pioneer all the initiatives to curb climate-related risks. And this was excellent news. And I just want to say that these good news come from somewhere in the United States. TCFD is a G20 task force supervised by the Financial Stability Board, the FSB, but obviously with the role of Michael Bloomberg plus the staff of Michael Bloomberg, in particular Curtis Ravenel, plus the presence of Mary Shapiro, former SEC chair, all of them American people. It looks like it's an American initiative. But however, the very good news indeed is that when HLAG remitted their report on the 31st of January this year, Mr. Christian Timan, one of the key outputs, or one of the key conclusions, was that TCFD conclusions or disclosures should actually be adopted at the EU level. And so TCFD is really global. I'm just gonna, because maybe not a lot of our panelists are going to talk about TCFD, I just want to show one or two slides if the computer allows me to do so. The other way. Ah, the other way? No, not even. But maybe you can show us the next slide. Everyone's familiar with the 11 disclosures. You know that strategy C is the biggest challenge for companies. Strategy C is about scenario analysis. How do you actually tell a story, or two different stories, two different scenarios for the future, like in 5 or 10 years, regarding the risks and the opportunities that might have materialized by that time that come either directly or indirectly from the issue of climate change. It's very, very intellectual. It's very difficult to actually describe it. It's science fiction, basically, and it's even more difficult to monetize it. And the TCFD had a few objectives, and I think I'm happy I have the possibility to show you. We at the TCFD issued a new report in September this year, 2 months ago, which is the interim report, or we call it the status report. The findings can be summarized this way, but I don't think I can. Can you please? This way. So one very important finding is the one on the upper right side, that those 11 disclosures in the 2000 reports that we analyzed do not actually sit within the financial report as was initially envisaged or targeted. Most of the time it sits either in the sustainability report, as was the case in the past, or in the integrated report, sometimes a little bit in the sustainability reports, a little bit in the financial report, but the financial implications are often not disclosed, and the disclosures are often made in multiple reports. All right. The second takeaway from the status report of September is that this strategy C disclosure that I mentioned, the one on strategy resilience, it's very limited, the information that we got based on the sample of 2,000 companies that we reviewed. We reviewed companies in the 20 countries of G20 and even beyond. But the very good news is that the majority of companies now disclose climate-related information, and I would probably remember that. There is a next status report coming up in June, and we'll be working on that. Yeah, maybe 2 more slides, please. Yes, and in June, we might have this type of rating moving a little bit more to the right. This is, again, coming from the report 2 months ago. And in June, we're going to issue the report regarding 2018 disclosures, all right? Whereas here is the 2017 disclosures. How do you read that? If you take strategy C, which is the question I focused upon, you can see that it's there are 2 panels. On the left side is those 1,734 companies that were analyzed through artificial intelligence. On the right side is through natural intelligence coming from the big 4 firms. And you can see that strategy C is quite to the left, which means few or some companies have actually complied with this requirement or this proposed requirement, but no mandatory requirement to disclose the results of scenario analysis.